Hey guys, before we get into things, please subscribe to our channel and make sure you turn on notifications so you know every time we post. And also, head over to our social pages, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram so you can see clips and chat wrestling with us. But now, let's get into the video.
What is going on, C2 wrestling fans? We got Snowden with you tonight. A little bit of a Sokoa video coming your way for NXT Vengeance Day. A hell of a PLE. But before I get into it, I want you guys to pop into the C2 Wrestling channel, subscribe, and turn that notification button on. We got so much content coming your guys' ways from reviews like this, SmackDown, Raw, NXT, podcasts on Thursdays. We have a little bit of a vault thing going on. We're checking out all these vault videos WWE is putting up. Entering the vault, it's called here at C2 Wrestling. It's been nothing but a blast watching those, reviewing, reacting to them as well. We want you guys to check out all the content. So before I get into this, subscribe and turn those notifications on. Dive deep into the channel for us. Hell of a show tonight, though. NXT Vengeance Day. For a long time now, NXT has been some of the better wrestling going on, some of the better storylines on weekly TV. Some people may not see it, but it's been that way for a while now, and I've been riding this wave. It's been great. Starting the show tonight, we got a new champion. New Women's North American Champion, Stephanie Vakir, defeats Fallon Henley. Predictable, sure, yes. I think we all kind of knew Stephanie was going to win this match, but that is okay. We say it all the time here at C2 Wrestling, but predictability, when done right, it is good. It can be great. And tonight is one of those instances where it was great. Stephanie now in a very prominent role. All three of these, women free agents that came over, and Julia, Stephanie, and Zaria, all doing pretty prominent stuff on NXT TV weekly. Putting the title on Stephanie is absolutely best for business. I think Stephanie opens up the door for a whole lot more potential for that NXT Women's North American Championship, which, has been around for a bit now, but hasn't maybe really gotten the light of day as much as some of the other things going on. So I think by putting it on someone a bit more prominent, nothing against Fallon Henley, I think she's great, but she was a little bit more of a transitional champion. Putting it on somebody like Stephanie that's a little bit more prominent opens the door. Maybe down the line we end up getting that Stephanie Zaria match, one on one for the North American Championship. Zaria kind of on the side teaming up with Sol Ruka. They got a little good thing going there, so might happen down the line. But now Stephanie gets to defend the title, put that title on the map for the women. First ever South American born champion in WWE. Kind of crazy when you really think about it. Great to see. Nothing but love for Stephanie. Nothing but love for the current NXT Women's Division. It's the most stacked Women's Division of all time. We've been saying this for months now in NXT, and they are proving themselves week in and week out. Now, following the Women's North American Championship match, we had another title match, this time for the tag team titles. The greatest tag team in the company, in the wrestling business right now, in Fraxium. Axiom, Nathan Frazier, defended their tag championships against a newly formed tag team in NXT's Josh Briggs and Yoshiki Inamura, coming over from Noah. Josh Briggs had a little bit of a stint over in Noah, in which he faced off against Yoshiki. He comes over, they form a little bit of a tag team, and they put on an absolute stellar match against the current NXT Tag Team Champions. I had an absolute blast watching this match. Axiom and Frazier can absolutely go. Nobody can deny that. They are C2's Tag Team of the Year, rightfully so. Josh Briggs is somebody that I'm glad to kind of see finding his place. Is coming into his own a little bit more, it seems. Josh Briggs, almost a year ago at Stand and Deliver was in match of the year, essentially, a match of the year candidate. If it wasn't for that Hell in a Cell match between Punk and Drew, Dijak, Briggs, and Oba is very arguably match of the year. So I think Briggs has a lot in him. He's just starting to get that opportunity to really let it out. And it's great to see. I think he might be better off as a heel, though. So I hope that's maybe imminent at some point to really go full blown heel on somebody like Josh Briggs. But again, it was a fantastic matchup tonight. Yoshiki is a bit of a fresh face, for a lot of the NXT crowd. I don't think too many people that really watch are super familiar with Noah. Of course, we hear of it, we see clips, we watch it here and there, maybe, but I don't think anybody was religiously watching Noah to the point that they were a big Yoshiki Inamura fan. But he turned me into one tonight. I'm actually looking very forward to see what those guys do next. But I think we have an idea of what's going to happen next. At the end of the match, we had the debut of a new faction in NXT. They come out to the ring, they attack both tag teams, Fraxium and Briggs and Inamura. It is Dion Lennox, Osiris Griffin, Saquon Sugars, and Cutler James. Now, this has been the vignette that's been running the last couple weeks where the TV cuts out at the end of the event and they showed a couple silhouettes of the guys and people started making out who it could be. We've seen a little bit of Dion Lennox in the past. The other faces are pretty fresh for TV, at least. You know, you might see them around the performance center, things like that, but they haven't quite made a stamp yet. Intriguing. Yeah, I'm definitely open to what's to come. I do think it's a little bit too reminiscent of Retribution, The Shield. It's like I understand going that route because it's worked in the past, but I maybe you drop the masks, the skull masks were a little bit too like Retribution-ish to me. It seems like a copy and paste idea a little bit, but I am open to it, you know. It seemed a little, I don't want to say rushed their attack on the tag teams after the title match, but it seemed a little out of place, kind of. I don't know. We didn't really get that moment of all four guys kind of standing tall in the ring type thing. I don't know. It didn't seem like a true introduction to this new faction, but I'm still interested into seeing where they go. Saquon Sugars, Cutler James, Dion Lennox, and Osiris Griffin. Maybe we got something here. I'm going to leave my options open. I don't want to speak too soon on what could be something great. You never know. You know, we have one of the most over guys in the company in Trick Williams in NXT still, and I think his call up is becoming a little bit more imminent. I think that's maybe post WrestleMania, post Stand and Deliver. And I think it's because he's starting to put some people over, you know, adding some credibility to other names as he did tonight in his loss to Eddie Thorpe in a strap match. I didn't see that coming necessarily. I thought Trick Williams would get the win here, potentially set him up to face Oba again at Stand and Deliver. Now, I think that can still happen, but it really kind of shocked me a little bit to see Eddie Thorpe win this match in the manner he did. Call it cheating. He used the strap for a little bit of a low blow. Cheating, not really cheating. Kind of came across as like a clean win, if you ask me, if I'm being honest, which isn't what I expected out of Eddie Thorpe. I do like Eddie Thorpe. I think Eddie Thorpe is a good in ring competitor. He's got a little bit of like a different kind of look and feel to him. I don't know how over he's going to get with the crowd, face or heel. I think he might be one of those guys that is mid card, top mid card level. I don't know. Nothing against Eddie Thorpe. I do think he's great, but I think it might be tough to picture him in the main title event, title picture, I should say, in NXT. But again, it's one of those things where you never know. What does this mean for Eddie Thorpe? He just got a win over a former NXT champion, a very big win. Maybe he gets another title shot coming up. What does this mean for Trick Williams? I don't know. I think Trick Williams in the next couple weeks is going to play the kind of beating himself up type role, type gimmick. We'll see where that kind of goes. But Trick Williams, man, it's one of the most over guys in the company. And he has been for a while now, even despite NXT not having, you know, the grand stature that Raw and SmackDown have had. He's been on those shows. He's popped up here and there, and the crowd goes wild for him. I'm looking forward to post Stand and Deliver, post WrestleMania. Hopefully, we get to see whoop that trick on the main roster pretty soon. Now, following Thorpe and Trick Williams was another singles match between two guys that have been feuding pretty heavily over the last couple weeks. Ethan Page, who broke the jaw of Javon Evans. Javon Evans cleared throughout the week by doctor's orders. They had a little bit of doctor vignette clearing Javon Evans. I thought that was pretty funny. It was a pretty solid match. I'm a big fan of what they put on there. Ethan Page, you know, I just said Trick Williams is one of the most over guys in the company as a face. Ethan Page is one of the best heels in the company right now. You know, again, NXT maybe doesn't have the level of audience that Raw and SmackDown do, but I fully believe when Ethan Page is on the main roster, he's going to make some waves and people are going to start to notice him a bit more. Javon Evans, sky's the limit. I mean, this is a future champion. Javon Evans is a future mid card tag title world champion, not only in NXT, but on that main roster. And he's so young. He's got so much more time. You know, a lot of people are going to see that and think he's getting buried. Javon Evans, bring out the shovel. He lost a match. Oh no, what are they going to do? There's a story they're telling here, guys. Javon Evans is going to get his time to shine. This is only just a stepping stone into his career. He's been in the spotlight a lot in his relatively short stint in NXT. One of his first big matches is a fatal four-way title match, main event. He faced off against Randy Orton. He wrestled in the ECW arena. You know, they showed this little video package before the match explaining all of this. Javon Evans, only time will tell how good this kid is going to be. And I think he's going to be a future WWE champion. Mark my words, bookmark this video, clip it back for us, because when it happens, I want you all to know that C2 Wrestling said it first. NXT World Champion Obafemi defends the belt in a triple threat match against the tag team of Grayson Waller and Austin Theory. In our recent podcast, Chris and I had discussed how many other three heel triple threat matches have there been in the company's history. It's really tough to kind of name any. And this is one of them, and it was a fantastic match. It was absolutely stellar. Obafemi, again, man, if it wasn't for Gunther, this might be an Obafemi Stan account, if I'm being honest. He is the next big thing. I don't know if there's been Brock Lesnar like potential in a guy as much as there is in Obafemi right now. And this is just the beginning for a guy like him as well. He's just spoke about Javon Evans being young and having so much more time to go. Obafemi's not much older. Obafemi has years to go, decades potentially, and he is being fastly pushed to the top of the card, the main picture. WWE NXT champion, North American champion in the past. I think this is a guy that is going to not only win belts, but this is the one that wins the King of the Ring, wins the Royal Rumble. He has a very similar trajectory to a guy like Gunther, in my opinion. But back to the match. Austin Theory, Grayson Waller, a little bit at odds, all week kind of going into the match, before the match, coming out to the ring, and during the match. And I think the dissension between the two was fantastically done. Really, really well done. Grayson Waller, Austin Theory are two of the best guys in the company. I keep saying this over a couple of guys that I'm talking about here tonight, but I think tonight's triple threat really showed the value in guys like Austin Theory and Grayson Waller, where Obafemi, as great as he is, he's still a bit green in a way. Waller and Theory are able to kind of carry that match in a fantastic manner with fantastic spots. To end the match, that rolling cutter that Grayson does, jumping into the ring, Oba moves out of the way and he hits Austin Theory. If not done properly, that cutter can look so choppy. Oh, it looks like, how did he miss Obafemi and get Austin Theory? It's so silly. It's not like he ducked a clothesline, but they made it beautiful. It worked out so well. Grayson Waller also broke up the pin by pulling the ref out of the ring. Austin Theory had that match won potentially, and Grayson Waller cost Austin Theory the NXT Championship. I think this is something that's going to translate a little bit more to the main roster, where I think this is the slow end of the tag team of Austin Theory and Grayson Waller, which hurts my heart to see. Those are two of my favorite guys, maybe my favorite tag team in the company right now. We were popping hard to see them win the tag titles at WrestleMania in person in Lincoln Financial Stadium, and we might have been the only people cheering for Theory and Waller, but it's because they deserve it. We've been on record saying that this Austin Theory babyface run is going to be generational, and I still stand on that. I don't know when it's going to officially happen. I don't know if a Theory versus Waller match makes the WrestleMania card, but I can see them being in a tag title match and losing, and maybe at the end of the match, Theory turns on Waller or Waller turns on Theory. Whichever way it goes, I think Waller is going to stay heel. He's too good of a heel. I think they have been waiting a while now to really give Theory this kind of babyface run. Unfortunately, for someone like Austin Theory, who had a crazy push under the tail end of that Vince regime, I think they needed to hold off for a bit because Theory was getting a lot of unwarranted hate by the wrestling community. And I think if they would have immediately pushed him into something, I don't think the fans would have taken too well to it, which is crazy to me. He's fantastic. If you can't see the talent in that guy, even under that Vince run, which again, I get it was a little forced. I don't think he should have won Money in the Bank that year, but he's still a great talent. A lot of great things to come. Maybe they do make the card at WrestleMania. I know I just said I don't think they do. I would like to see that, but there's a lot of potential matchups for WrestleMania, so I don't know if it quite fits the bill. But regardless, I think that breakup is coming. Now, before I get into the finale of tonight's PLE, the main event, the women's fatal four-way for the NXT Women's Championship, was hit with a little surprise at the end of the men's NXT Championship match. This newly formed faction that came out post tag team match to attack Fraxium and Briggs and Inamura also came out after the men's triple threat to attack Obafemi. Saquon Sugars, Dion Lennox, Cutler James, and Osiris Griffin yet again make it known that they're coming for everybody in NXT. I definitely liked this a little bit more than them coming out for the NXT tag teams. I feel like maybe the way they presented them coming out against Oba should have been presented the same exact way against the tag teams, with maybe Fraxium standing tall, Briggs and Inamura could have been in the ring, maybe about to shake hands or something. Lights go out, the spotlights hit on the stairs, and they all start walking down. That maybe would have been a little bit better, in my opinion, for that first run around. But that second time coming out to attack Obafemi, I thought that was much better done. A little bit intriguing though, because they're coming for everybody in NXT, sure, but I don't think Oba's facing any of these guys at Stand and Deliver. So I don't really know what the storyline is here, but I got no doubts in the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. He's been booking a stellar run in NXT, so I'm very much looking forward to where that goes, especially post that attack on Obafemi. Intriguing stuff. I still believe it's a little bit maybe Retribution esque, Shield esque. They even hit a quad power bomb on Obafemi. They upped the Shield power bomb by one, added a fourth. Two guys tossed Obafemi, who's a big dude, into a power bomb. It was a pretty great spot, not gonna lie. So I'm a fan of that. Again, looking forward to see what's coming. I'm not loving it. I'm not hating it. I'm kind of in the middle here. Looking forward to see where it goes. But I'm also looking forward to see what's going to happen with this NXT Women's Division now, because this Fatal 4-Way was great. Bayley, Julia, Roxanne, and Cora Jade. Roxanne's last match in NXT, potentially. I really thought she might run until Stand and Deliver, but I think that might have been the call up right there. I think she might go to the main roster and feud with Bayley. Hell, we might get Bayley versus Roxanne at WrestleMania for all I know. Maybe they get a singles match between the two of them. Cora Jade, Julia, and then you got the now NXT branded Jordan Grace comes out to the ring. It was crazy to see Stephanie come out. That was a little unexpected. I didn't really see that coming, even despite the little promo by Stephanie backstage saying that she was going to stand and watch the match. And then she comes out and they raise their belt, stand tall to end the show. You get the little entertainment symbol on the bottom. Oh man, show's over. You change the channel until you hear the sirens. Jordan Grace comes out. We are NXT shirt on. She's officially signed, officially part of the NXT brand. A little bit of a stare down with both Julia and Stephanie. At first, before Jordan came out, I kind of forgot. I'm not going to lie. The Jordan Grace was not on my mind for some reason. So when Stephanie came out, I thought, man, are they going to try and go double title route with one of these women? Is Julia going to win the North American Championship? Is Stephanie going to win the NXT Championship? I don't really know where they're going. After Jordan Grace's music hit, it all makes sense. I think Jordan Grace more aligns to just go straight for the NXT Championship, if I'm being honest. I think her versus Julia main eventing Stand and Deliver is probably the best option. But I don't think Jordan Grace should win, if I'm also being honest. I think Julia is being built up, and she hasn't been around for a while. She had a little bit of an injury when she was supposed to debut, so her NXT stint's been a little bit shorter than it was supposed to be. I think you're really building Julia up to be something special here, and I think having her run with the title for a little bit longer would be best for business. I think Jordan Grace would be a great chaser right now. Not that Julia is even a heel, but I think if Jordan Grace loses this match at Stand and Deliver and Julia wins, you can run it back at the next NXT PLE in a month, 2 months, whenever it is, and maybe Jordan Grace can get the big win there. Usually, I'm all on board for these really heavy names to get the big win at the big shows, the Manias, the Rumbles, the Stand and Delivers, and all that. But there is still a story to be told with Julia, and I'd like to see that get dragged out a little bit. Maybe it's a triple threat. Maybe Stephanie doesn't defend the North American Championship, but maybe it's a triple threat between the three women, which I'm on board for as well. I would love to see Stephanie get the title at some point too, so I can't say no to that. But I don't predict her being the victor if they were to do a triple threat. I think it would more go Jordan or Julia's way, but still, they're going to put on a great match. NXT, I said it at the beginning of this video, I'm going to say it at the end of this video. It is some of the best stories, some of the best wrestling in the business right now. And if you're not watching NXT, you might as well not be watching wrestling. But if you're not watching wrestling, you're not watching C2 wrestling. So tune into all of it. Raw, SmackDown, NXT, everything. Because then you got to follow up with myself, Snowden, and my other half, Chris, CTD. We've been putting out so much content, guys. This has been nothing but a blast. We're starting to grow here, and we love and appreciate all the support. We got so many of you loyal fans out there already, commenting, liking, subscribing, notifications on, as we always say. We want to continue that, so keep at it for us here. It's been a blast, guys. I hope to talk to you guys soon. I'm sure it won't be long. C2 Wrestling.